Hello, family. Good day and welcome again to One Global Movement Building Hopes and Dreams, where we meet to discuss issues and celebrations and graduations and everything that concerns children. We talk about it here and we take action. So I am really so honored and proud that um, when we turn on the screen, we know that we have family on the other side because we are not in this alone. And thank you so much, my beautiful sister, because it looks like you're my twin sister right now, but things will get better. And I thank our managing director who is already here and everyone that is present here today. Let us keep doing what we're doing because the challenges and the successes that face our children or that are for them in the world requires all of us to come together to celebrate or to see how we can find solutions because these two things have to meet regardless whether it is you or our children. It has to. That is just the way life is. But either way, it's a win-win because when things are rosy, we are grateful for them. We celebrate. We are happy. When they are not so rosy, it's always another good thing to say, you know what? I have to dig my heels in to find what is possible in that situation that I can use to continue to grow so that I can also help others grow. So thank you guys so much again. Let us continue this. And while you're also doing it individually with your own purpose and your plans, we all are doing the same. So when we do meet, then we discuss. So please, please, please do the hashtags because one thing that I want to say is that the algorithms takes a lot of considerations with the hashtags that we use. That is what gets exposed so that these things they can forward it to a lot of people. So let's do those hashtags one global movement, hashtags defeating hunger, hashtag defeating poverty, hashtag defeating illiteracy, hashtag sowing seeds of prosperity. These hashtags must hit those algorithms so that they get to all corners of the globe so that no child is left behind. Please do something. If you don't have any comment to make, those hashtags are there for you to use because remember, we are gathering every resources necessary so that we can support these children well and we don't leave any stone unturned, especially in this technological advancement world, which is good for us. So that way, instead of spending money to go to people, we do it this way so that when we absolutely have to, and then we go, but not all the time. So thank you. And today we are on another thing that I was going to say. First of all, what was I going to say? I was going to say about the topics that we do here, the themes that we discuss. Remember, don't try to absorb everything because it's hard. What resonates with your purpose? And because the core values of life, we always discuss them here. When you have those core values, and then the themes that we discuss here, we want to try to see how our children, our young people can fit into all what we discuss here. You pick one that suits you. You use that one to work with, but it's not like you have to, because nobody, not even me, I will be able to use those things all at once. So it is so important that we do that and then creating that space, especially that mind space for our children to be happy, to be healthy, and to flourish in their endeavors, whatever it is. So it's very important, and it's only depends on you and I. And whatever we discuss here, remember that it starts from home. Because when we raise our children well, they will be able to know what is going on in the world and they will know how to navigate the world and still be happy and healthy. So that's so important. And sometimes I know that it can be challenging, not to accuse anyone. We all are doing our best, but we continue to do the best. God will fill in those gaps that we are unable to do. So we are in One Global Movement Revolution, part 377. What is injustice? And how do we teach the next generation to recognize and challenge it? And sister, again, the set of topics that you sent here, I'm so happy because it also takes me away from those, then focus on other things. Otherwise, I will be dabbling with a lot of things. But thank you so much for the way that you craft this topic. So, what is injustice, and how do we teach the next generation to recognize and challenge it? Challenge it in a good way.
Yes.
And remember that injustice starts at the home, in the home, not outside. Because if we all are bent on raising our children well, even if we were not raised well, we decide to change for the better. When these children go out there, they will already have those tools with which to know how to challenge it, not to fight, not to argue. They do something that only the eyes and the mind and the heart will see so that they too can copy. So before we do it as usual, anyhow you want, because we are all natural creations of the Almighty, let us bow down. So, from subtle bias to systemic barriers, we want to offer our prayer to God. Heavenly God, Heavenly Father, creator of all wisdom and justice, we come before you as one global movement, united by faith, love, and the conviction that every child, woman, and young person deserves to live in truth and fairness. Lord, open our eyes to the silent injustices that hide behind systems, traditions, friendship, and ignorance. Teach us not only to see wrong, but to stand against it with courage, compassion, and the clarity of heart. For injustice is not just the loud voice of oppression, it is also the quiet acceptance of what should never be tolerated. Father, empower the next generation to rise with light and learning. Let their classrooms be sanctuaries of truth, their voices instruments of change, and their dreams blueprints for a just and peaceful world, be it at home or outside of the home. Grant us wisdom to teach them that justice begins within, in how we treat one another, in how we speak, forgive, how we play with our siblings, and how we act. Help us replace fear with faith, silence with service, and ignorance with illumination. May every act of kindness become a lesson in fairness, every story of struggle a seed of strength, and every child who learns to question wrong become a leader who defends what is right. O Lord, use One Global Movement as a vessel of your divine justice to heal where hearts are broken, to educate where minds are closed, and to unite where divisions have torn humanity apart. We decree and declare today, Lord, that injustice shall not win, for love, truth, and divine wisdom shall rise higher than hate and deceit. Guide us, Lord, to bring world solutions that restore dignity, equity, and hope. In your holy name, we have prayed. Amen.
Absolutely. Amen. Thank you,
So,
sister.
yes, up to you, sister.
Yeah. And today we also remind everybody and ourselves why we are doing this.
Mhm.
So we go through the One Global Movement vision and mission statement. The vision and mission statement of One Global Movement, which we sometimes shorten to OGM, One Global Movement will support any organization, group, or individual that aligns with its global vision and mission, which is as follows. The mission of One Global Movement is to empower young people, children, and women worldwide with a focus on young women, providing them with the tools and sustainable solutions that will help them eradicate hunger, illiteracy, and poverty and build generational wealth while living a life of leadership and purpose. We believe that every child deserves access to nutritious food, quality education, and opportunities to thrive. Through global collaborative efforts to innovative programs and community engagement programs, we strive to break the cycle of hunger, illiteracy, poverty, and build a future where every child can build on their own hopes and dreams while reaching their full potential. So, together, through divine intervention, love, and clean and safe, valuable technology, we can create such a world where no child goes to bed hungry, no child is denied an education, and no child is limited to poverty or to any other condition that is not of their own making. It is possible. Our gratitude and thanksgiving goes to our divine creator, who is our ultimate provider and who has promised to supply us abundantly, not just for ourselves, but to do good works by helping uplift and care for all of humanity. We thank everyone who supports OGM and wish us all success in our various businesses and world changing endeavors. And that is our vision and mission here at One Global Movement. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
And today we have this brilliant topic. I don't know, these topics are just. Ah,
Well, you craft them, but those are beautiful. You
that's
crafted
why
them.
I'm laughing. Greetings, everyone, and thank you so much, Dr. Mundih, for this platform. It's very grounding, and it's such a worthwhile thing that
Thank you.
even
You're
when other
welcome.
things are even when other things are falling apart, you have this one good thing to focus on. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
We thank everyone for their time and support for the One Global Movement. We appreciate it very much. And today's topic asks an all important question. It says, what is injustice? That's the first question. And how do we teach the next generation to recognize it and challenge it? Because there's no point just recognizing it if you're not willing to challenge it.
Uh-oh, you're frozen. Huh. This thing better not. Oh my God, looks like she's frozen there. You know, I'm just gonna pick up where she ended. If you guys are hearing me, John, can you please indicate in the chat yes? If you're hearing me, anybody, can you indicate in the chat? Please, I need to know if you guys are hearing me. It might just be Sister Yvonne's something, internet or something, or it might be the stream. Yeah, can somebody indicate in the chat? Um, Okay, thank you, John. Thank you. I think Sister Yvonne is having some challenges. I am going to go ahead and usually she's the one that takes Wednesdays head on, but I am going to continue here. And okay, she fell off. Hopefully, she will get back in. Uh, and we'll continue. So, thank you guys so much. Yes, what is injustice? And how can we teach our children, our young ones, to challenge it? And not just to challenge it, what are the kind of solutions that they can bring that will serve the whole of humanity? Because injustice is everywhere, and like we always say, it begins in the home. And when these topics that she crafted, I really so love these topics because when they talk about injustice, I think I have gone through injustice as a child. And, you know, we want injustice against a child is not a good thing. But when it does happen, it will be a good thing that the child already has resources that they can challenge it and they can also bring solutions. Like me, my the way to challenge it or bring solutions was taught by my grandmother, and that's the way that I survived, especially in situations where other young girls that were going through the same thing that I was going through, they could not survive. So I was the only one, and so because of that, I have vowed to teach, to educate, and to talk about these things that I went through because a lot of children, a lot of people go through these things in the world. And as we say, it always begins in the home. And we call upon all parents, all caregivers, adults, businesses, organizations, churches to really understand what injustice is, how to deal with it, and what kind of solutions that are good depending on that situation. Not just what we are doing here. We're talking about these things in general so that everyone can find where they fit according to their family life, their culture, and their traditions. So, but injustice is something that is going on every day. So, welcome everyone, and good day again to all the beautiful people of purpose, which I call you guys the beautiful people of purpose, leaders, volunteers, dreamers, and difference makers of one global movement. Today, we gather here with one mission burning in our hearts to understand injustice, not just a word. Injustice is not just a word. We need to understand it, but as a wound, we are called to heal. We're not just understanding it as a word, but as a wound, we all are called to heal. And so we gotta not to blame anyone. No, not at all. Because we all have fallen short of the purpose for which we were created. So we gotta not to blame anyone, but to build, to help to build ourselves and to build our children and to build everyone. So, not to divide, we are not dividing, but to define a new path, one where every child and with the mind, a woman, a young person can rise with dignity, freedom, and opportunity. So, let's begin with this truth, and we must understand this truth. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Let us understand this. Okay, she's back. Yes. Go ahead, please.
Where, where whereabouts were you? Where did you get? So I was
No,
going to
I was
define.
just repeating what you said, that we have to
Okay,
find
okay. All
solutions.
right. So I was
Yes.
just going to define in a basic way what injustice is. There are different kinds, but we're talking
Mhm.
about social injustice for now.
Yes.
Injustice is the unfair treatment of people in society, and it can become systemic through
Mhm.
ingrained biases, discriminatory discriminatory policies, and institutional practices that
Mhm.
disadvantage certain groups. This can be described as weaponized when these systems are used to actively oppress or control populations or demographics,
Mhm.
often through a combination of discriminatory laws, social attitudes, and institutional power. Examples include racial discrimination in the criminal justice system or gender bias in healthcare access and research. So, when you hear the word injustice, what comes to mind? Maybe it's poverty or discrimination or corruption, or the quieter structural kinds that you mentioned earlier, sister, the ones that hide in our systems, policies and habits that decide whose voice counts and whose doesn't.
Mhm.
But here's the real question for today: how do you teach the next generation not just to see injustice, but to challenge it, right? To
Right.
help us think about that, I turn to a philosopher. He's Brazilian and is an educator whose work still shapes how we see education and equity. His name is Paulo Freire.
Mhm.
Mr. Freire gave us a concept that's called critical consciousness, and he described it as a three-part journey. I like to frame these things because it's easier to assimilate. So the
Mhm.
first one, he says, you have to recognize injustice and equality when you see it.
Mhm.
You have to analyze it and ask why it exists. And you have to take action to transform or resist it, which is what our topic is about today. So that's what I call learning to see and to act. Because justice begins when we see it clearly and it grows when we act courageously. Is that not so?
It is.
Yes. So see, that's the small word, SEE. So we see. The first one is we're going to examine it and express. Let's start with C. See, examine, express. So, to see injustice and inequality, Freire said that before we can change the world, we have to see it as it really is. Even young children notice unfairness. In fact, researchers El Amin, Cedar, and Bott found that even 4 and 5-year-olds see who gets more attention, who gets left out, and who's treated differently. These are young children, and they can see that, right? But what they often don't have is a space to express what they notice and how to be taken seriously. And that's the challenge, right? So, our first task as adults and mentors, as you said, in the home, is to create that space, a space where truth can be spoken, curiosity is encouraged, and fairness is explored. If your child comes to you and say they think this is happening, don't just say, you know, it doesn't matter or whatever. It matters, no matter how young they are. And the first E in C is examine. Seeing is the first step, examining is the second. We must teach young people to ask deeper questions, give them that space. Why does this happen? They might ask. Or who benefits from it? And what keeps it in place? And that's how frustration can turn into understanding and understanding into empowerment. And the last E is to express. Once they've seen and examined injustice, we must help them express their thoughts and feelings through dialogue, storytelling, art, or community action. Expression is where empathy finds its voice and where awareness begins to move toward change. The second word is act, C and act. Awareness, ACT, awareness, courage, transformation. Now, once they've learned to see, the next step is to act. Awareness, courage, transformation. Awareness that leads to accountability. When awareness deepens, it calls us to take responsibility. It's no longer enough to say that's wrong and just leave it like that. We start asking, what can I do? And that's the turning point when compassion becomes a personal calling. And the C in the word act is courage, the courage to challenge injustice. And courage matters because, as Freire said, change doesn't happen just by thinking about it. We need to show young people real examples of courage. Rosa Parks, my daughter, Malala Yousafzai,
I know. Yeah, beautiful daughter.
Nelson Mandela, but also the local heroes, the community volunteers, the quiet ones who simply refuse to look away. That person who's challenging the bully in your school. Their stories teach one lesson. You don't need power to make an impact. You just need conviction.
Yes.
And the T in ACT is transformation through action. Finally, transformation. This is where learning about justice becomes living it. We can give our young people chances to act, lead a community project, start a peer mentoring program, speak up about fairness at school. Small acts, big lessons. And remind them that they're not alone. Real change takes community, teachers, families, faith groups, and organizations that model fairness in action. That's where courage grows roots. Friends, injustice thrives where awareness ends, right? So we have to be aware. Our mission, yours and mine, is to make sure awareness grows into analysis and analysis matures into action. Let's raise eyes that see and hands that act. So the next generation will not only inherit the world as it is, but they will have the vision and the courage and the space to make the positive changes that are needed. And if you remember just one thing from today, let it be this. If we teach young people to recognize injustice but never equip them to challenge it, we don't change the future.
There
We
you go.
preserve the status quo.
Yep.
So let's help them see and act. And I would like to close with this iconic, dynamic quote: Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. It was written by the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. during his imprisonment. He was in prison when he wrote this in
Yes.
Birmingham, Alabama. And it highlights the interconnectedness of all people and how the existence of injustice in one place can undermine justice for everyone.
Yes.
It emphasizes the moral imperative to fight against injustice wherever it is found, as
Mhm.
it is not an isolated problem, but a collective one that affects the entire system of justice.
Yeah.
The phrase suggests that ignoring injustice makes it a precedent that can eventually spread and erode the foundation of justice for all.
Yes.
So, thank you for listening. That's it.
I was when you started that, I was happy because I have the same quote. Because
Oh, of
it
course.
shows that when people do great work, we need to recognize that we need to use it because it's been
Absolutely.
there for years and it's educating us. That is a wonderful legacy, and
Because it's iconic, right? Because
yes,
it's so
very
short,
iconic.
and
Yes,
it says it said no long-winded speech could say it better than that. It
yes,
just made a
yes.
declarative statement.
I really like
Injustice anywhere, right,
that. Mhm. Yes,
is everywhere. It's a
yes. It's a
threat
threat to
because
justice
yeah,
everywhere. So
yeah,
important.
yes,
Yep. And I so love when you talk about young children. It's as young as 4 or 5, as young as 2.
they see
Okay,
it. They see it.
2 years old, you give something to another child and you don't do it to that same child. No,
Absolutely,
it does
absolutely,
not work.
absolutely.
Imagine even a 1 year old, um, and that 1 year old by nature understands that you're supposed to be taking care of him or her,
Yeah,
yet you are on the phone
yeah.
or on the computer. They
True, true,
know it. It's a natural instinct. Now they
true.
start crying or they start making loud noise, disturbing you. You can't even talk, or they start taking your hand away from things because
Yes,
that is a natural instinct. It's the
yes,
same thing to like we are born. We were children too. Children are born to love and they love. There is this picture, you see this child goes to this baby, and this baby, like we say, I am a white race or a black race or a green race.
yeah,
No,
yeah,
we are
yeah,
all human race.
yeah.
And they will just see this baby because they know a baby is a beautiful thing. And
Absolutely,
they will just
absolutely.
go and just hold that baby like this, like they will not let
Yes,
go. And they will be
yes,
kissing the baby on the head. So
yes,
it's just the same thing like injustice. You
yeah,
feel it, you know it because you were born to dictate those things. And
yeah.
that when you feel it and you know it, that is it's telling you that something is not right here. But what can we do about it? It is what
Exactly.
matters, like you say. We can't
Yeah.
just define it, we can't just call it, but we have to bring lasting solutions
Yeah.
to these things. And so
Mm-hmm.
I really so love when you talk about that. And when you started talking about Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s quote, I'm so happy because injustice anywhere. He didn't say in one part and not the other, because
No.
because he's a reverend and he's talking with the knowledge of the scriptures because he
Yes.
understands that there is injustice everywhere, even in our homes, among
Yes. Yes.
siblings. So
Mm-hmm.
injustice anywhere is a threat. It's
To
a big
just.
threat to justice everywhere.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that also says when you discriminate upon a child here, let's say in the United States, because I'm in the United States,
Mm-hmm.
that carries across the ocean to other children,
Of
other
course it
countries as
does.
well.
Of
So
course
it
it does.
does that. It's a natural tendency because what you're doing is you have disturbed the process of justice by discriminating against a child in the region where you live. And so that's why we are one global movement. We're doing things globally because if you're going to do it for one part and not the other, you are
Mm-hmm.
promoting injustice, and we
You
don't want
are.
that. It's
Of
just like
course.
when I was raised, my mother raised us with a lot of children, particularly girls, because I have mostly brothers, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and my
Mm-hmm.
mother the same. But even so, it's part of our culture to raise the entire community. People that are struggling, or maybe they are sick, or just for some reason they can't raise their children, they bring those children to us. And we are happy. It's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing, the policy that I have here. I raise children, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I raise
Yeah.
children here. When I see that maybe those children they need some help, I do that for some time and then they can go back. But those children, the good thing is they always like to come back. I'm going back home.
Like to come back.
Mommy
Yes.
is gone. I'm going back home. So it's a good
Mhm.
thing. It's a good thing. So what you feed your child should be exactly the same thing. Put the
Yeah.
food on the table, let
Yes.
everybody sit, and then everybody decide what they can eat and the amount. Instead of you saying, you, these children, eat here and this one, you eat here, or you eat on the floor, you eat on the table.
You
So
know,
that is what we are
yeah,
talking about. So simple. Go ahead,
yeah.
sister.
I don't know what kind of a heart can do that though, sister. It's I still try to understand that, you know?
Hmm.
Why would you not treat everybody the children? Why would you
Yes.
not treat everybody? How could you think of separating them and treating them differently, especially basic things like for food or, you know?
Shelter, food, shelter, clothing.
Yeah,
You will be shocked. You'll
how?
be shocked. And God teaches us lessons. I always say mothers, because mothers are those that are supposed to erase those kind of things,
Yeah,
because mothers are the bearers of humanity.
yes,
They
yeah,
are the greatest of reproductive gardens in the world. You know,
yeah.
so we
Mm,
need to bring those together, because I've seen it a lot. I've seen it with myself. I've lived it with myself. And so
yeah,
when you coin this topic, it's like you are teaching me, you are really helping me heal the scars of the past, which I'm
thank
healing
you.
every day.
I'm
So
glad.
this is
I'm
a
glad.
beautiful,
Yeah,
beautiful thing. So
yeah.
now let us pause and ask the audience and ask ourselves, when you hear the word injustice, what comes to your mind?
What
Like you
comes to,
ask, what
yeah,
comes to your mind? Now, that's where our journey begins.
it
Like you
is.
define it so succinctly there.
Yeah,
The journey begins with awareness.
it does.
Awareness, like you just said, I'm just repeating your words, because that
Mhm.
is it. Because you cannot try to help a child without going to the root cause of what is happening with that child. You got to take into account, where does this child comes from? What is the culture? What is the tradition? How was this child raised? You need to know the background before you begin to bring solutions. Otherwise, those solutions will not hold. And bringing solutions that fit into the context of that child. So that is very, very important. So
It is.
injustice isn't always the loud voice of oppression. No,
No, it's
it's
not.
not.
No, it's not.
Sometimes it is the quiet systems that whisper, you don't belong here.
Yes.
And they don't even say it, but you know it because you were born with those natural tenets. You don't belong here. Maybe it's just shifting your body like this in a such a way that it doesn't portray love, or just
Yes.
looking at a child and the child will freeze. So
Yes.
those things happen. It hides in the stories that are never told, like you said. you know these
True.
stories are never told.
They never
They
are.
only highlight only the ones that they want the world to hear. There are so many people in the world, even young people, that are fighting injustice. Why do I say so? Because some times ago, I decided, and I'm trying to do it again, decided to be a cab driver, driving late so that I can meet a lot of university students. Somebody advised me to do that. And I
Ah,
met a lot of them. And we talk. These kids are tired of injustice and
yeah.
oppression and
Yeah.
discrimination. So we are tired. Why can't we all, they say, they ask, why can't we all just live in peace and love and harmony with one another? That means
Right.
they're tired. But are we listening? Are we, the parents,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
governments, the churches, are we listening?
Yeah.
So that is the problem here. So it hides in the stories that are never told.
Never.
and
Never.
and and we only want to, oh, let me talk about the story of this Hollywood person or this rich person or this. But
Yeah.
those stories, they hide even in our parents. That
Yes.
silent whispers, we don't tell those stories. you
Yeah.
you see. So we need to start picking those stories, because it begins from the roots, from our
It,
background, and we
yes.
highlight those stories. What happened to your mother? How did she handle? What happened to your father? What happened? So we
Yes.
begin from there, because if you don't begin from the roots, you cannot resolve or help a child in the world. So,
Mm-hmm.
it hides in the stories that are never told, in policies written without inclusion. We're talking
Uh-huh.
about all inclusion. When you
Yes.
want to, that's why when you want to teach a child, don't just go, this is what I'm going to teach you, and this is what you're going to learn. You want to be able to, if you understand your children from conception to pregnancy to birth and to growth, you will already know what your child wants, what the child's dream or gift is. Now you teach that child based on that. And listening and really feeling, not just saying you have to do the, you have to be a medical doctor, you have to be a lawyer, you have to be that. So these are simple things that we often just miss that mark and trying to go but here instead of going here first. So that
Yeah.
is very, very, very important. So these policies are written without inclusion. And that's why
Yes.
here in Global Movement, we want all inclusion. It doesn't matter whether the child is pooping in their pants or they can see or one of their limbs is not there. They are
Doesn't.
human beings. They were created by the same creator that created all of us. And so, and in opportunities distributed unequally. How many of us know? I know it because I have suffered the brunt of injustice. I have
There you
suffered.
go.
And so
Yes.
it's the child, uh, it's the child told their dreams are too ambitious. Have you heard that? We've heard
Mm.
it in the school system.
Yeah.
If
Yeah.
you read the story of Michael Jordan, what was he
Yeah.
told? By a
Oh,
teacher,
yes.
you will never be able to play basketball. But he took that as a challenge.
Of
Thank God
course.
that he had that mindset. But
Yep.
look at him today. He's one of the legends, basketball legends in the world. And he,
Sidney Poitier, that
there
actor
you
from,
go.
he was
There.
told the same thing, that
Mhm.
don't even bother to try. I mean, can you imagine?
Yes, or you're telling a child, you were born like this, you were born like this. How do you know when we were created by the same God? So this is
Yeah.
very, very important. It's the mother working twice as hard for half the pay. Remember that women have been discriminated upon when it concerns payments. And some of those traces are still there. Just like they
Mm-hmm.
say, this belongs to a woman. This kind of job is for a woman. This is not for a man. We are limiting
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
ability and capacity of what some people can do. And therefore, this transcends to our children. Because when you do something to a mother or a father, you are also doing it to the children because the children depend on these people. And so, or it's the community unseen by those in power. Those in power can be you, the father, because you're in power over your children. It can be me, the mother, not just the system, not just the government, right? So, because it begins from the home. Look at me.
Mm-hmm.
My father was in power, and I went through that, put by a biological father. But thank God for my grandmother, my mother, and my village. And
Yes.
so, these are the things that we have to start with. And so, what does One Global Movement believes? One Global Movement believes that true justice is not the absence of conflict.
Mm-mm.
It's not the absence of conflict. It is the presence of fairness, even when we are fighting.
It's conflict.
And
Yes.
so let's teach our children this, and this is very important. Justice begins when we see what others ignore. And remember, the scripture says, when you keep quiet, and Martin Luther King too says the same thing. When you keep quiet and you pay a blind eye and a blind ear to injustice, you are the perpetrator, the number one perpetrator of that situation. A
It's
lot of
true.
us, because laws and systems and maybe the family, like in my case, they favor you and you don't care about the other child or you don't care about the other person. And your job is the same thing. Maybe your job favors you and they're saying nice things about you, but you don't care about the other person. Remember that what you're doing is affecting not just you, but your children and also affecting the whole environment and across the globe. And therefore, we want to teach our children to become good global citizens. And so let us teach our children justice begin when we see what others ignore. And does it mean that you're going to open your mouth and begin to talk? No, you don't do that because you're going to make people angry and you can get hurt. There are so many ways of bringing justice into a situation. You can go to your parents, you can go to your teacher, or you can even just write in a nice way, but you are writing about that thing, not
Yes.
provoking people, but you're writing about it. Sometimes it's just action. You taking good action so that with the hope and prayers that the other person can hopefully learn. So it
Yes.
grows when we speak where others stay silent. Remember, the scripture says, speak up for those who cannot speak up for themselves. My grandmother taught me this scripture along with among other scriptures like Psalm 91. They recruited Sunday school teachers to teach me,
Mm-hmm.
speak up for those who cannot
Speak
speak
up
for
for those who
themselves.
can
And
speak.
my
Yeah.
grandmother taught me how to speak without fighting, how to speak without throwing tantrums, speak up.
Mm-hmm.
I have a strong voice because I come from a family of strong voices. All right. Yes. Speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. Speak up for the poor, the hungry, the destitute, but speak up. Don't keep
Speak up.
quiet because, like, in unpassive, I'm sorry, I have to say unpassive because that's what I know now until the new name comes. In unpassive, we saw a lot of unfairness, but because maybe the management or the leadership favored some people, we could not say a word. And yet, we are here supporting children. How do you support a child when you see unfairness, when you see a fellow human being being treated in an unjust way, and you keep quiet and you don't say a word? So we need to speak up and speak up in a nice way, in a teachable way, not in a provocative way or in a way to strike a fight. That's not the way to speak up. We speak up like the scripture speaks, like Jesus spoke, you know? So let's teach our children all of these, you know, it leaves when we act where others stand still.
Yep.
When you see somebody has fallen, because I've seen somebody falls and people are laughing instead of running to the aid of that person, they are laughing, and that
Yeah.
person. So we can be the good Samaritans to say, no, I'm going to pick this person up. Oh no, this child, they're not educating this child. I am going to be able to educate this child. I am going to shadow adopt this child to, not because the child is coming to live with me. I'm going to pay for the tuition. That's a commitment. And we can do
Yes.
that. No matter how small. Remember, $1, $1, which we're going to have One Global Movement magazine, just 99 cents a month. You can pick that money up from the street and you still help. And so we
Mm-hmm.
want everyone to subscribe to those magazines and help other people subscribe. This is how we'll gather the resources that we need to help these children. And so this is very important. So bias is the seeds. Bias is the negative. Systemic barriers are the forest that grows when we ignore those seeds. But they start from
Amen.
the, how does a child knows how to love? They were created with that love. But how does a child know how to hate somebody? Because they learn it from us, from the home, from the
That's true.
environment. And
That's
so
true.
that is very important. So a subtle joke that degrades a culture,
Yes.
that is injustice. A school that fails to include diverse histories,
Hmm.
injustice. A hiring policy that values names over skills. I put this here because years back, I had applied to work with this company. And I knew that I was going to be accepted because I had the education and the requirements that were needed. But
Mm-hmm.
for some reason, they never called me, they never even contacted me. So I moved on. How many years after I saw this letter, they sent it to me. They said, your name falls among those that were that those that applied for this company to work with them, but they discriminated upon them. That was unjust. So you need to fill this out. I'm like, nope, this is a scam. I'm not gonna do it. You know, I told,
Mm-hmm.
throw it away. Okay, I shredded everything, and then they keep sending it. They keep sending it. Something told me, why don't you just try? You know, I filled out the form, and for sure they send me money back because they sued that company. That's the government. The government did that.
It was a class action.
A class,
Yes.
there you go.
Yes.
And,
Yes.
so now I was settled. I'm like, who? It was to me like free money then, you know. And so the government took it because the government doesn't take, remember that the government cannot always do everything. We need to help that government because
Yes.
sometimes they are
Yes.
overwhelmed, just like you and
Yes.
I. They are
Yes.
overwhelmed with a lot of things, and we can't always hold them accountable. Before you talk about the government, they're not doing that. What are you doing to that government yourself? Are you
Yes.
just
Do
there to
your part. Speak
do your
up. Do your
speak up?
part.
Don't
Yes.
just be there to discriminate because the government, most of the time, they will listen if you are doing the thing well with respect and dignity. They will listen.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
So it's so important. That's why I'm talking about this. And so let me share this story as an example with you. Let me share a story of a young girl from a small village, you know, with a brilliant mind, full of curiosity, questions, nosy. She dreamed of being a doctor. That's not me. She dreamt of being a doctor. I've always wanted to be a journalist. Okay. So,
Yes.
but our school had no science lab. Can you imagine? Just like me, I dreamt of being a journalist. And they couldn't pay the tuition to be a journalist. They forced me to do something else. But thank God that they sponsored me to be here. And so I had to do what I love. So
Yes.
her dream withered. That means the dream was dying away.
Dying on the tree.
Not
Yes.
because she lacked the potential or the brain space, but because injustice denied her opportunity.
Yeah.
Think about that for a
Yeah.
moment. If it's you or your own child, what would you do? So that is why one global movement fights not only against hunger and illiteracy, but against families, systems that sustain them. And fighting is not a physical fight, like we always say. You are
Mm-hmm.
standing up for what you know is right with humility, respect, truth, and dignity. And so,
Yes.
education is not just about reading books, like we always say here, right, sis?
It's
It's
not.
not just
It's not.
about reading books, it's about reading the world. It's about reading the world, reading every child, because you must have to read your child. Otherwise, how do you raise your child without taking the time to read that child? And so
True.
now I want us to interact because we can't just be talking. Interact, action is very important. So,
It
how
is.
many of you have witnessed a moment where someone was treated unfairly? Not loudly, but quietly. How many of you have witnessed that? I have several times.
I have. I have.
Yes,
Yes.
several times I have. And I'm the kind that God made me to stand up for people. When I
Mm-hmm.
was a vice president of the union, I had to really stand up for people. And that gave me the urge because I was the vice president of the union. So that is where the work begins. It begins. That's exactly where it begins. And so how do we teach the next generation? How do we teach the next generation to not only see it and say, that's not my problem, but challenge it with writing, challenge it by standing up for a child that is discriminated upon in school, challenge it by a child that is being bullied and they don't know, just standing there makes to assure, and you stand there and that affirms and assures that child that I'm not alone. Somebody
Exactly.
is here with me. That is
Yeah.
very, very important. And
Yeah.
so, teach critical. How do we do this? Like you said before, sister, teach critical thinking skills.
You must.
Okay?
Yes.
Let our children question why things are the way they are. And it's
Mm-hmm.
you don't just accept things. Like the scripture questions a lot of things. You don't accept it, you question it with the intention to learn and to grow, not with the intention to just challenge people negatively. You question
No.
things,
No.
don't
No.
just accept things the way they are.
Yeah.
Because when you accept things the way they are, remember, he who feeds you will control your mind and controls everything about you.
Yes.
You have to question, why is it that the school wants me to eat from this table and not from that one? And children are born inquisitive. Like my grandmother said, be nosy. I'm saying that's not my language. And it beer, tera camera here, beer. My grandmother taught me that. Be nosy.
Yes.
And
He
so
knows it.
I know that a lot of sometimes, because my son questions things a lot. Sometimes I become but I have to accept it, because
Ah,
otherwise you'll be shutting the child down. They will not learn properly. So
that's right.
let our
Yeah.
children question why things are the way they are. Let them connect the dots by themselves, not you forcing them. No, you do it this way because this is the way that I know how to do it. This is the way that my
Yeah.
parents know. Uh, have that patience
You do. You
to to
must.
to let
Yeah.
them also do it the way that their mind is telling them, and you be patient and sit right there with your own child, because in the end you'll be happy that you did. And so let them
Yes.
connect the dots between personal experiences, the way that they were created, and systemic realities. Let them
Yeah.
do it. Encourage
Mm-hmm.
them to ask who benefits, and if who benefit, why not the other person benefits
Right.
as well, just like me? Who is left out and why are they left out? Are they less of a human? No. They were created by the same creator. and we are co-creators in this. So how can I help change this? A lot of young people in the world, sister, they are changing the world for the better. They
I
are.
know.
They are
Yes.
revolutionaries. So the
Yes.
greatest form, one of your sons is, as we know it. So
Mhm.
the greatest form of education is awareness. An awareness that comes from the good side of the heart that leads to action. And so model, the second point is model empathy and fairness. We talk about this a lot of time. We don't have to go over those things. And then you give youth a voice. We've talked
They
about that.
must. They must. They
That's
must.
why we say speak with heart. Speak from the soul. Give
Mhm.
youth a voice. Invite them to be part of community decisions. That's why we always invite them here. So that because they've lost so much trust in the world, let us be that one place where they know, you know what? I can go here and actually cry without
Yeah.
somebody laughing at me and actually vent out without somebody criticizing me or calling me names. So we
Yeah.
want them to have this space here. And then let us connect awareness to action. Now that you know, like you said, now you know what next. Like you
Yeah.
asked the question, knowing injustice exists is not enough. Like you said, we
It's
must
not.
act.
Isn't.
We
Yes, we
must and
must.
let them volunteer, advocate. Like we have the One Global Movement ambassadors here that are
Mm.
advocating, and then let them write. Writing it has
Right.
your brain, and innovation is part of them. They were born with that. The Gen
Oh,
Z.
absolutely. The technology and the Gen Alphas, they're coming up. They
Yes.
don't know how to put the phone down. They don't.
No, they don't. Sometimes I tell my son, can you just put that phone, take it out of your pocket, you know? So let their digital voices become instruments of change, not
Right.
comparison or competition. Not wanting
Exactly.
likes. They didn't like my post. Oh, this. No, they
No,
didn't
no.
like your post because they are not meant for that post. Okay,
Exactly.
that is not
Exactly.
what they have as their dream. But keep doing what you're
Exactly.
doing. Don't give up. Keep doing it
Exactly.
like Tyler Perry says. Pick that one thing that God has put in you and keep doing it. When you
Yes.
do it, like he went out to just make a movie, a simple movie, but look at
Yes.
where it took him.
Where it
And
took him. Yeah.
I have that short video. I will share it in our mother's group where he says, pick that one thing. We have picked here, we can say poverty, illiteracy, and hunger, because these
Yeah.
three things must go together. There is nothing, you're not going to feed a child without teaching the child.
Yeah.
And you're not going to just feed a child without asking that child or teaching that child how to also build an empire for themselves, right? And
Correct.
so this
Correct.
is very, very important. And so
Yeah.
don't just teach them to dream of justice, teach them to
Learn
build
how to do
it,
it.
build their
Yes.
own system like they are doing, some of them are doing in the world. And so One
Yeah.
Global Movement stands as a global classroom of hope where education, empowerment, and equity intersect. They come together. You can do without the other. And so our mission is very clear. Like you read today and always, to eliminate hunger, illiteracy,
Hmm.
and poverty, to raise a generation of ethical, conscious leaders. That's why we say with divine intervention, to
Yeah.
empower women, children, and youth to live purposefully and prosperously by planting seeds of prosperity. We say
Yeah.
seeds, we cannot limit them to one. They need to choose, you know?
That's
We give them
yes.
that opportunity to choose. So every book we share, every seed we plant, every voice we amplify is a strike against injustice. We must fight to
Mm.
get a book in every child's hand because that might just be what that child needs. Of course, all children need that. Books of
Yeah.
different kind, not just the classroom book, you know. True
Yes.
justice begins when every child can eat, read, dream, and rise.
Yeah.
Rise. This is very, very important. Now, let us turn awareness into responsibility. I am pleading
Hmm.
and asking, if we want a just world, we must raise just hearts. That's our children, but it begins with us. If your child is behaving funny, what did you do? You must have contributed somehow, even though in every rule there is an exception. But when you train a child the right way, with your hands in prayers, especially mothers. These children, of course, they're going to experiment the world. But when they experiment it, they're going to fall back. When they see that it is not what the parents thought and it's not doing them any good, they will fall back. into that. So if we want equality, we must live with integrity. Each of us
Yes.
is a teacher, not me, not just you. All of us here are teachers to ourselves and our family, our children, not by profession, but by example. Remember, I told you you're fit to be a professor in the school, not because of education, because that's a gift for you, you know. Where justice hides, let our light find it. Where silence reigns, let our voices rise. And and where despair lingers, like despair is always coming around you, lingering around you, let hope
Mhm.
rebuild humanity. And now, close your eyes, everyone. Close your eyes just for a moment and imagine this: a generation that refuses to tolerate hunger, prejudice, or inequality. That's the future we are building together here in one global movement. One action, one child, one voice at a time. So thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you.
you.
And sister, I'm
Mhm.
really so grateful that
Mhm.
God brought us together because you you know, because you coined these topics with more meaning or more focus than the way I did it. You know me with long, long things. I don't know how to do that, but you're doing a very wonderful job here. So thank you guys
Yes,
so much
yes,
for
yes.
taking the time to really
Thank you,
listen
sister.
to
Thank
us.
you. Yes, yeah, yeah. You
So
know,
go on.
um, there's a statistics that says that children, 4 or 5, whatever it is,
Mhm,
they ask about 400 questions a day.
mhm, mhm.
And as we get older, adults, we ask about 20. We just think we know everything. We don't have those kinds of conversation. We don't connect in that way. We're so
Yeah.
busy creating lives. And that's true.
Mhm.
But then we don't match with our children then, because who are they asking those questions to? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Are they asking it to the teachers? Are they asking it who is supposed to connect with them and give them that safe space to say, I don't know, let's find out together or whatever, you
Mhm,
know? There's such a mismatch there. Imagine
mhm.
400 to 20.
Their brains are too much. Sometimes like, "Ah, can you
And
just
that's how they learn, though. And
yes.
that's why it's so dangerous, because we're letting them learn from other things that doesn't have our values then, if that's the case. You know what I mean?
Mhm, mhm,
Because they are going to ask those questions to what, ChatGPT, to their
mhm.
friends who don't know any better, to
Oh
people.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So it really is very important that we are mindful about who is raising our children.
Yes, and don't be like the parents that would take their children to neighbors or not neighbors, to family members to raise. When my son was very young, my mom said, "I want to go back to Cameroon, but I want to go with Al, so that I will." I say, "Mom, no, that's my son. I want to be able to raise my son according to my own tradition and culture. You don't relegate your child unless you're sick. In that case, it's different. But
Of
if you
course, there are circumstances, right?
even if
That
you're
that
poor, like
yeah,
they say,
yeah,
yes, what if you have one potato, you can share that potato with the child. The child will grow up well because you're there raising that child and breeding. You breeding and talking with the child is already a blessing to nurture that child in the right way. And that's
yes,
how my grandmother told. My grandmother used to just spit on our forehead, and that is a blessing. It's not to
a
say something say
blessing.
ew. It's not
Yeah,
ew.
it's a
That is
blessing.
just what
Yes,
it is, a
yes.
blessing. So I'm not saying go and be spitting on your child because there are too many diseases now.
Yeah, yeah, but I know what you mean. Those little connections, right?
Yes,
Because
yes.
that is what they need.
Hmm.
That is what's needed.
Yes.
I know people who
Yeah.
have done just exactly what you said. They wanted to get an education, and I understand that, but they left the child with relatives, and now they have no connection, none whatsoever.
Yeah.
Now, is an education really worth that? I don't think so.
Uh-huh. But you remember, we all must remember. Let us not always capitalize on the classroom education. What about the education from the soil? What about the education from your parent? That's where it begins. How you
Yes,
raise your child. The education already prescribed and subscribed and given to us by the creator. That is the first education.
it
And when I
is.
tell you that I grew up reading the Bible first, sometimes I always remind you, I'm not a preacher. But that is the way that I was brought up. I'm not a
Yep.
preacher. I didn't know. I started reading the Bible very young. At the age of 4, they would teach me how to read and other things. And my uncle was right on top of things, teaching me how to
Mm-hmm.
read.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a beautiful thing.
Yes.
Education gave me that gateway. Education broke chains of injustice for me.
Yes.
And that is why I
Yes.
take it very seriously here. And we are so grateful that we're all here. We have the same mindset. And we can just be what the world needs, what the children needs. Instead of waiting for others, everybody should do. But we here, no matter whether we are 2, 3, 4, or 5, we can.
We
And we
can.
can. It's possible.
Yes, we can. Like the
Yes,
former
we
president said.
can.
Yes, we
Barack
can.
Obama say, yes, we can. All
Yes.
right. Let me start our comments here. Our managing director is a funny man. He's welcome to One Global Movement. Speak with her today. Let's listen to Yvonne Monday.
I know.
Yvonne
Look at the way
Monday
he
has the
spells your
final and
name.
comment here with your thoughts, John. Monday. That name carries a lot of meaning, John. Okay, it's spelled with IH, or maybe you're just trying to make fun like you
Oh
always.
yeah, he
Good.
knows. He knows.
That's good. All right. So thank you. And let me go. Who is this here? Oh, our beautiful sister, Abundant Me. Yes. That's a good one. At abundant
Mhm.
me, that you
Yeah.
are abundant. You were created with abundance. So you
You
guys
know.
we would like to see those hashtags, please. Hashtag defeat hunger. Hashtag defeat poverty. Hashtag defeat illiteracy. Hashtag planting seeds of prosperity. Let's do those hashtags all the time because we want the algorithms to take those hashtags. And if you're here, please, the moment you get here, press the like button. That too helps a great deal. Please. Thank
Hmm.
you. That's great support. And we have our our brother here at Rao Zehab. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for being with us here today. We highly appreciate you. And of course, our beautiful sister here, thank you as always for the work that you're doing. It looks like you and I are doing the same amount of work, but thank God for that. So,
Thank you, sister.
yeah. And we have our brother here, Gutam. How are you? Thank you so much for being here with us. We highly appreciate you. And let's go down. Who is this? At Kamala Fia. People are having at. Is that
It's
a,
Kamalati, and I don't know. It seems everybody's name is coming
everybody is
out.
having at
with-
something at something? What is going
Yeah.
on?
So I
Okay.
don't know if this is something that was changed in StreamYard or what, but
Ah,
almost
okay.
yeah. I don't know. Everybody has that. So
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
All right. So please follow and share One Global Movement Facebook page. Please always go there and like it. You can like it as many times as possible and follow it. This is the way we are doing is technology and it's reduced a lot of cost for us. So let's do this because this is the first step and then we
Hmm.
move forward. So, and the
Hmm.
website is coming along well. Pretty soon we'll have a website, and I'm going to be sending a link out. And thank God, my mentor has introduced me to something Minnesota that is to raise money for nonprofits. You can go there 50 cents, $1, $2. I will want people to take that link and share it. This is the way that we can do things. You don't have to give a whole lot, give a little, little by little. We come together and then we start acting up. We start shipping books to kids. We start buying sneakers for children. We start really making sure that they are being taught the right way.
Okay.
So that's very important. And we can even have a place here or anywhere in the world with a place with computers there that these kids they go to school, they come
Okay.
back, they do their research, and then they have food, a dinner table, a supper table right there when they do their research, and then they can.
Hmm.
That has always been something in my mind, but eventually I want it in a big farm. They will come there, they do
Of
their
course you
research, and
do.
yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah, hello, Sanjay Kuma. How are you? Thank you so much for being with us here today. We highly appreciate you. And of course, this is StreamYard. If you need to subscribe to it, they're going to send One Global Movement $10. It will go a long way to change the life of a child. Thank you. And we have Michael Barrow. How are you, sir? Thank you for joining us here today. We highly appreciate you. Sir Ashok Sham, how are you? If you're new here, do well to subscribe. We need more subscribers, please. Let us get more subscribers to subscribe to One Global Movement YouTube channel. Those things go a long way to help. All right. You said the managing director said, hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to One Global Movement. Speak with her today. Please feel free to comment here in the chat on anything that occurs to you as you listen. Hashtags, please. We need those hashtags coming, coming, coming. And John is very good with those hashtags. Thank you,
Oh,
John.
yes, he is. He's very dedicated to the hashtags.
Yes.
Thank you,
Yes.
John.
Hello, Sir Giri Malapala. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us here today. We highly appreciate you. All right. And we have our brother here. We miss you, Brother Shriji Jana, but you're here today. And we thank you so much for joining us and our
Did you
love to
see?
you and your family.
Okay. When you finish, did you see Ledega? I think you missed that one.
Oh, okay. You have very good eyes.
It's right under Grimala Palapalaba Grilapa. Back up a couple, and you'll see it. There you go. Yeah,
Okay.
Ledega.
And I have 4 eyes I can see. Okay. Happy Wednesday to everyone. Happy Wednesday to you, sir. Thank you so much, Let the guy, for joining us. Thank you. We appreciate you guys' devotedness and patience and contribution. Thank you so much. And hello,
Right.
this is the poke. Sometimes this mouse is acting funny. Okay, hello, sir. Deepak Dash, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us from that end of the world. We appreciate you and your family.
Yes.
And then we have Sir Abdul Sattar. How are you, sir? We appreciate you guys for really suspending your sleep and being here with us here every Wednesdays and Fridays.
Yes.
Thank you so
Yes.
much.
Yes.
And of course, we have Sir Ashok Kumar. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us here today. We highly, highly appreciate your consistency. And here, this is a very beautiful hashtag. Hashtag mindfulness, hashtag awareness, hashtag injustice.
Yes.
Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
And
Indeed.
we have our beautiful sister here, Sister Sharon. Thank you so much for being here. And just remember, when she's here, you always get a happy birthday and happy birthday to everyone that is celebrating
Mm-hmm.
today. Thank you so much, sister. We appreciate you. And let's go here. We have Sir Sunil. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Just remember, don't forget to subscribe if you're new here, and don't forget to push the like button. Remember, we are working with high technology now. That is one of the best ways to do that. Thank you so much. And let's go here. We have Iqbal Patel. Iqbal Patel, how are you? Thank you so much for joining us here. We highly appreciate your presence here today. Our love to you and your family. And we have Hapu. If I don't pronounce your name well, don't worry, I will learn, okay? So thank you, sir. If you're new here, do well to subscribe and share the videos so that they can know what we're doing here and to reach every child in the world. And we have Sir Piari Topo, how are you? Thank you so much for being with us here. We highly appreciate you as well. And say hello to the family. And let's go down. If am I missing anything?
No, you good.
Okay. Okay. Almost there, guys. Almost there. Thank you so much. You guys, I'm really happy with what you guys are doing. We have her Nancy Jody, Queen Nancy. Nancy is doing is on a marathon. My goodness. What's up? She's there circling One Global Movement. Everything that is being posted, she's there. Bring. My goodness. I'm not like, why does she have this time and then to work and to take care of the family? But you are doing a wonderful job to spread the gospel and to reach every child. This is what
Thank you, Nancy.
we encourage everyone to be doing. And thank you so much for doing that. And We have Gitan. Gitan, how are you? Thank you so much for being with us here. We highly appreciate you. If you're new, do well to subscribe, okay? And turn on the notification bell. And please like, follow, and share One Global Movement Facebook page. Here is the Facebook page. Just go to Facebook page and you will see it. And also encourage other people to do so. You can encourage your family. Your young adults, they can also do the same
Of
because we do
course.
this to
Yes.
all of them.
Hmm.
We have Bye Play Chandra. How are you, sir? Thank you so much for being with us here today. We appreciate you. And okay, now the managing director, I knew that he was going to do that. Yes, folks, make sure to give this channel a big thumbs up and subscribe and click on the bell. Ring that bell, okay, so that we can hear for notification. So thank you so much, John. And I think that will be it, isn't it? Yeah, that's it.
Yes, it is.
All right. So we've come to the end of today, and as usual, we want our sister here to give a closing remark because she is the author of all of these topics right now.
It's not going to be anything different except just to remind us of what our Martin Luther King said. I mean, I think that says it all.
Hmm.
You know, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. I can't say it any better than that.
Hmm.
So let's see it and act, because that's the important thing. You can't just see it and say pass it by, or every little thing that you can do to address it. And as you always say, it starts in the home. When your child, or even you come home and you're discussing something at work, you know, you might talk about it where your child can hear, and then they might say, why did you get involved, mom? Or why did you do that? Because you say just what Martin Luther King said.
Hmm.
Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere.
Yep.
Because once the precedent has been set, it becomes normalized. And once it becomes normalized, it invades the systems that you think protect you. Like you with that the job interview that you talked about, where look how many years later it was addressed.
Hmm.
When I used to work in corporate, it's the same thing. People would ask, because they think of you as a mature, whatever it is, because I was always that kind of person. And they would want you to spy on others, or things like that. And it's wrong. You're not,
Hmm. Hmm.
if they want to address something with somebody, go to them directly. Don't ask for a third party to become involved. It's not fair. And
Hmm.
that's what injustice is. It's basically unfairness.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for being here today. And always remember, if somebody didn't say they love you, we here
We
in
do.
One Global Movement, we
We do.
do. We love you because we cannot be teaching children without that love that comes from the heart. So until Friday, we love all of you. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye. Bye, everyone.
Yeah, bye bye.